Alright, cool. Boom. What's going on, everyone? It's Rahman Mustafa.
It's Emmanuel Hope.
And this is the Ends to Excellence podcast. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a special guest with us.
We
have Jacques Opoku.
That's
Thank you for
name.
joining us, brother.
No worries, bro.
Thank you for joining us. So, bro, Nigerians are here, bro. Nigerians are here, fam. Chill.
I'm always outnumbered, man.
Boy, no, not today though. But so Jacques is a financial advisor. Go on.
So you call it financial educator.
Financial
or
educator.
You can call it an investment guider.
Okay, investment guider. Investment guider.
Yeah.
You've been working in the financial sector for over 5 years now.
That's correct. Yes.
And you were working in Schroders for about 3 years. Is that correct?
Yes. So my wealth of experience mainly comes from working at Schroders.
Okay, excellent.
Where my job title was actually a fund manager's assistant. So
Excellent.
that's what I've been doing most of my career.
And you do your financial guidance under Jacques Financials?
Yeah, JAX Financial.
Excellent.
A lot of people ask me how I came up with the name. My name is actually Jacques. It's a French name. Don't ask me why.
Jacques.
But everyone calls me Jacques. And I watch a show called Billions. I'm not sure if you've watched Billions.
Yeah.
And they call the place, is it Axe Capital? So
yeah.
I thought you just put a J in it. You call it Jacques Capital.
Alright, cool. Alright,
no, I just call it Jacques Financial.
It's got a ring to it. It works. So, thank you for joining us, brother. We appreciate you. So, one of the first things we ask our guests is, what ends are you from, brother?
Well, it ends up from H-Town, from Hackney. From H-Town.
Okay. And what industry would you say you're excelling in right now?
So it's the investment management industry.
Okay.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Okay. So how did you get into that industry?
Wow, that's a. Where do I even begin? So, to cut a long story short, I was actually headhunted. So even after I finished my master's degree.
Dope.
Let's roll back a bit. You went to uni.
We could go all the way back to secondary.
Let's just start from you went to uni,
I went to
you
university.
you did your A-levels and went to uni.
So I did my A-levels in maths, economics and media studies.
Cool.
And then I went to Loughborough University.
Okay.
To study economics,
Okay.
straight economics.
Cool.
And then I did a master's degree. So I took a year out to work and stuff, and I went back to university. And I did a master's in applied economics and financial economics at the University of Nottingham.
Okay.
So it was after that I kind of had an idea. Still then, you don't really know exactly what you want to do because it's so broad.
Yeah.
But it was after that I decided, let me see what's available. And investment management just seemed to be the most exciting field for me at the time.
Dope. So after going into uni and finishing, you say you got headhunted.
Yeah, so a lot of people, the general, structure, a lot of people within that went to maybe somewhere like Loughborough, the structure they take is they go on a graduate scheme.
Yeah.
Right. So they apply, you go through the 5 stages and you end up on a graduate scheme, which is a good way to do things, I think. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but I just couldn't get into the graduate schemes that I wanted to.
It's pretty competitive.
Yeah, all the top banks, I went to the final stages, so I did my interviews, assessment centers, and on the last stage, I would not get a job.
Yeah.
I think maybe I was going for something that was way too competitive. I was competing with Oxbridge candidates and that kind of stuff. And then one day I just got headhunted by a company called Cazenove Capital.
Okay.
At the time it was a medium-sized investment management company. And they took me in to just do some sort of admin type of role. But I was happy to take it. The time I graduated, the crisis was still,
Got you.
Yeah,
So what year did you graduate?
So I graduated 2011. So I started university when the crisis actually took place.
Wow.
So that was 2008, 2007, 2008, and then I got headhunted, and the role wasn't really exciting. It was just an admin type of role.
Yeah.
But I got my foot into the door, and without sounding too cocky, I knew my academic background was strong enough for me to move somewhere else as soon as I got the experience.
Got you.
Yeah.
So I was very strategic in how I did things, and that's. After that, I moved onwards and to where I am right now.
So would you advise someone trying to get into industry to get their foot into the door through an admin role and get their experience, would you say?
There's so many routes to take into any industry. My particular industry, investment management, the best way is probably through a graduate scheme, right? Because they have a tailored scheme, they treat you as a new graduate and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
To go through the admin route, it's very possible. I will advise it. But it's not so easy to move from an admin role into, let's say, a front office role, which is what I do now. The shift is very difficult. Sometimes you can find yourself pigeonholed into working within operations or an admin type of role.
Got you. Yeah. So how did you manage to make that change?
So I think the thing that helped me again was the academic background. Okay. So my academics were pretty good compared to a lot of people that worked within admin. You don't have to go to university, by the way, to even get into these admin roles.
We can go into that as well.
Continue. So within the team that I was in, just looking at my academia, I was quite up there, but I just lacked the experience.
Okay.
So once I got the experience, I also took a qualification. So the qualification that is usually needed in my industry to step up is called the investment management certificate.
Okay.
So I did that, and once I had the accolades, it still wasn't easy, but I knew I could move.
So you did that whilst you was in the job?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in fact, we spoke about graduate schemes.
Yeah.
Most graduate schemes will have you study for those qualifications anyway as part of the scheme.
Okay.
So in a sense, I kind of set up my own graduate scheme. And once I knew I was experienced and I had the right accolades, I knew I can apply for something a bit better.
Right. Okay. So why did you go into uni if you didn't know what you wanted to come out with?
Because my mum said so.
It bees like that sometimes.
Let's be honest. University was something that was always going to happen. There was no two questions asked. But I also knew from a young age that education was going to be my way out, because I just happened to be in the top classes all the time. So I knew growing up in somewhere like Hackney, it's either one way or the other. And I just knew education was going to be something that can help me in the future. When I was young, living in Hackney is quite close to Liverpool Street. So whenever we went past Liverpool Street, I used to see these guys in suits. And I thought, one day I want to be one of these guys.
Okay.
And my parents always told me to do that. You need to have the education. And so once I finished my A-levels, and my grades were okay, I knew, university was the next step. What I didn't know was the masters. That was different. That's not something I was expecting.
Would you say that's essential to get into the industry that you're in?
The master's degree?
Yeah.
Essential is not the right word.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's essential, but it does help. It makes my CV look more sexy.
Okay. I hear that 100%.
You want to be able to differentiate yourself from competitors. And sometimes, unfortunately, we live in a world where you need accolades. So if you can show that you've got a master's and someone else has got a bachelor's degree, perhaps that can help you. But I think experience is the most.
So would you say like, because obviously right now, obviously since you've been to uni and come out, like a graduate or someone going into uni now, they face like higher school fees and stuff like that. So would you say your university experience, like if you was to go rewind the clock and you was young now, would you go back into uni?
That's an amazing question. Wow. First and foremost, I would need to have known what I was going to do. In order to actually make the decision as to whether to go to university or not. Because in my opinion, if you picked me up from A-levels and gave me the job and trained me, I would be an expert by now. I didn't have to go through the university experience to do the job that I'm doing right now. However, you can learn certain skills from being at university. For someone like myself who lives with my parents at the time, just being away from my family and being independent and forcing myself to study, because when you're in college to some extent and secondary school, you're kind of forced to study. When you're in university, it's your own choice. Picking up these transferable skills that you're going to be able to use in the future is something that's essential. Now, the fees. I think a few years after I went, they tripled the fees. And I think it's extortionate. I think it's absolutely extortionate. So, in my opinion, you need to know exactly what you want to do. You need to know whether going to university is essential for that thing you want to do. And if so, then it probably is worth it. But in my opinion, don't go to university for the sake of going to university, because you soon find out it's probably not worth it for what you want to do.
But then you learn life skills on the flip side.
You learn life skills, but you can learn life skills elsewhere as well. So you've got to find a balance between the two. So
I hear that.
In my opinion, for what I'm doing right now, university, was needed. Most people that are working within the front office, within investment management, have a degree or 2 degrees. And they still have other qualifications as well. So in that sense,
you're working with money, you need to know what you're doing, I guess.
Is it possible to get into your position without going to university in this day and age?
Yes.
And so for someone that wanted to do it and doesn't have the degrees, what would be their avenue to get into your position or your industry?
I took, but
the admin way.
Difficult. So remember, I started working with an admin. So, and you don't need a degree to do that.
Got you.
Of course.
Okay.
So, of course, it's easy. It looks good on your CV. You've got it, but you don't need a degree to do that.
Got you.
However, you would need to do professional qualifications, like the IMC, the Investment Management Certificate, or something that allows you to move up.
Got you.
Yeah,
so
it does help if you have a degree.
Got you. So you'd say start off in the admin level and then get the qualifications while you're at admin for the opportunities to move up.
Yeah, we live in a world where people just, if you put your CV in front of someone, they want to be able to quickly sift through. And unfortunately, just looking at grades, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with grades and that kind of stuff. But it's just a way for them to quickly say you're capable, you're not capable, unfortunately. So you want to be able to fit the criteria. There were people that I knew, even at Schroders, that were doing admin roles, even when I was an FMA, fund manager assistant, and they were doing Open University.
Okay, they were studying in their own time.
So they were studying in their own time,
Okay. That's always another way.
Cool. So fast forward, you've been headhunted. You jumped into, so what was your first role again? What company was it?
So it's a company called Cazenove Capital.
Cool.
Okay, and it's an investment management company, wealth management. So they deal with individuals, high net worth individuals, so rich people.
Okay.
Basically, when I say rich, that means they have a minimum of 500,000 to invest.
Yeah.
And we basically do it for them. Well, the fund managers make that decision.
Yeah.
And I just do all the
manage their portfolios, etc.
And I do all the admin work, like onboarding and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know what that means.
Onboarding. So just basically the admin work when someone's coming on board. So the new client's coming on board, you want to do the KYC, know your customer, and all that kind of stuff. Not the most interesting stuff in my opinion, but I knew what I was doing at the time. I just needed the experience to understand how the whole industry even works and see where I fit in. And after that, I knew I can step out.
Okay, so working in your actual company, what was the biggest challenges you faced and what would you change? So for example, like what didn't you expect when you started working?
Well, first and foremost, Cazenove Capital was okay because it was quite multicultural, I think. My next role after that was a challenge because I only did Cazenove Capital for 6 months.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a company called Schroders, which I now work for, actually bought out Cazenove Capital.
Got you.
So the operations department, which is the admin department, had to be dissolved and I had to look for a new role. So I went to another company, a boutique investment management company near what's that place called? St. James Place, around that area.
Okay.
And that was a cultural shock for me because I was the only black person in the company.
Right.
A company of about 50 people. And just not, even the way you speak sometimes, I'm from Hackney. I spoke with a lot of slang.
Yeah.
It changed a bit when I went to Loughborough.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. I was at Loughborough, and Loughborough is, I was a rare breed in Loughborough. There's a few of us there, but it was a rare breed at the time anyway.
Yeah.
When I went to Loughborough, it was not known at all.
Yeah.
And I remember a black lady, she was quite nice. And I started speaking to her, and she said to me, "Why do you speak like that?" And I was so shocked.
Mad.
But then I found out, her upbringing was different.
Yeah.
She went to private school, that kind of stuff. So, but that was a shock for me. But so since then, I knew I had to change my way somehow.
Okay.
But when I went to this company called Body and C, that was a shock. And the challenge was basically trying to fit in.
Okay.
These people liked different types of sports to me. They like cricket, they like golf, I like football.
Yeah.
Their banter, I can't really fit in with their banter. So that was a massive shock. But after 2-3 months, I believe I'm an adaptable person. I started catching onto the banter, forcing my own banter on them.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. So, and just basically trying to develop myself as a professional. You asked what other challenge did I face? I think still trying to discover where I fit in. So even the role I was doing at this company, it was still quite admin.
Right.
And then I had to ask myself, do I really want to become, for example, an investment manager?
Yeah.
And see what the investment managers were going through and the stress levels and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was a challenge.
Yeah.
So what I do right now is almost a combination of both.
Right.
So there's still admin involved.
Yeah.
But it's at the front office, and we still have to make investment decisions.
Yeah.
So that's where I am right now.
So what would you like? So how did you adapt then? Like, what was it like, which made you think, okay, cool? Do I stay true to my my culture? Not saying you wasn't. I'm saying like, what was it like? What made you think, okay, should I continue how I am necessarily, like to stay true to where I'm from?
Yeah.
Or
It's a big topic what you're asking.
Or like, should I adapt and basically change the way I am, change the way I talk so that I can fit in?
Yeah.
And what was it and how did you do it, basically, you did it?
So first and foremost, you got to find a balance. I believe in balance. You got to remember you're coming from a totally different place. They're not used to someone like you, so they won't understand you. But at the same time, you got to be yourself. I can't totally be like someone I'm not, basically.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. The first thing that I had to do is, for example, after work, they'll go for drinks. I don't like beer. I like my rum and coke, for example. So we'll go out and I'll order rum and coke. And one day I said, let me get a beer.
Let me try this.
Let me try this stuff. When I tried it, and at first I didn't like it when I was forcing it. If I was to go back now, I wouldn't have. But at the time, I was trying to really fit in. And after a while, I started liking beer. You know, a good cold beer is not bad. It's not bad. Until my belly started coming out.
Stuff's gassy as hell, bro.
Yeah, you just... Do you know what? I'll be honest with you as well. As an individual, I was going through a phase, and I still am, of discovering myself as a person. You are always a product of your environment. But when your environment changes, sometimes you got to change with your environment to some extent. Anyway. It was all part of my journey. I wouldn't say I've totally left who I am, because if you're my friend, you know I totally haven't. But it's being able to adapt to certain situations. For me, it's natural. I think for me, it's almost a gift as well. Something that I've always been able to do, even outside of the workplace. Even going back to primary school, I could hang around with the geeks. I could hang around with the cool guys, because that's just who I am as an individual. So for me, it was easy. For other people, I'm not too sure.
Do you think uni prepared you for the workplace? Not the qualification stage.
Yeah, Loughborough did. Loughborough did to some extent. Oh, as in work-wise?
No, to literally as in
people.
The culture.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say something. You know, growing up in Hackney, a lot of my friends and family are from Tottenham and South London and that kind of stuff. I remember going to school and asking, so where are all the white people? I remember asking that question because where I'm from, there was a lot of black people, and all the white people I knew were Turkish or Cypriot or Asian, and of course there's also white people in my school, but they were minority. But then when I went to Loughborough, I said, "Oh, there you guys."
That's where they've been hiding.
And you know, one of my best friends growing up is white, for example, but he's very urban.
Urban.
I say urban, very, very different from the kind of people I met when I was at Loughborough. But it's all about getting to know people individually and kind of, you know, embracing everyone's background and kind of learning from everyone as well. That was a good experience for me. Just, you know, the whole thing about going and drinking beer, for example, it was interesting for me. I was really interested in actually finding out how people live compared to how I've been living my life, kind of thing. So,
okay. So let's go back to you and your working environment. So now you're in Schroders. What's your role in Schroders? What do you do?
So the job title is called Fund Manager's Assistant.
Okay.
And what does it entail?
Yeah.
So essentially, my team, we basically provide support to the fund managers. The fund managers are the ones who makes the investment decisions. So they say, oh, we want to buy these equities, these bonds, all these financial instruments. We are the ones who implement it. So we go into the systems and we place the trades, that kind of stuff. In short, that's exactly what we do. We make sure that the securities look right. We do a bit of admin and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, in short, that's what we do. We just help manage the funds with the fund managers, but they make the investment decisions when it comes to certain types of securities. We make investment decisions when it comes to things like raising FX trades and that kind of stuff. So,
So, what skills do you feel like you need to be able to do your job well?
So first, you need to have the knowledge of the securities. So you need to understand what equities are, what bonds are, how real estate work. And I'm not just talking about brick and mortar. I'm talking about literally the security. There's something called real estate investment trusts. So
break that down for us. When you mean securities, what do you mean by that?
Just financial instruments. Understand how they work and what they are, and the little, you know, the parameters it comes with and how they work, basically. So, you know, what are equities? What does it mean to buy shares in a company? How do you buy shares in a company? Or what does it mean to buy a mutual fund? How does that work? Why is that different from buying shares? Why are bonds different from equities? Or, you know, these kind of, what are derivatives? And why do we use derivatives? What are the risks using derivatives? How are they traded? these questions, you need to really learn how to understand how they work. So that's the first skill you need.
Okay.
The second skill you need is attention to detail, because we deal with high volumes. We manage so many different funds. And I'll say one of the key things you need to have is a strong stomach sometimes, because it is time pressured.
Okay.
Remember, the fund managers rely on you to get the trades on. So a fund manager may come up to me, and I hate when they do this, and say at 11:52, and the cut-off is at 12 o'clock. And they're asking you, Jax, I really want to trade this in the market. And you've only got 7 minutes to get this trade on. And you're just thinking, I want to tell you no.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be on your bad side.
Got you.
So you try your best. And, you know, when things go... In my industry, the investment management industry, is very rewarding.
Yeah.
When things go right, they go right.
Yeah.
But when it rains, it pours.
Right. I was going to ask about that.
Because you're dealing with money.
Yeah. So, like... The L's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, let's go for like one of your biggest L's. Yeah.
One of my biggest L's was at Schroders. I was 2 weeks in, just 2 weeks. Right. So that's why I was even a bigger L. And essentially what happened was part of the process I was just describing is where we raise trades. But when we raise trades, it has to go through compliance that we need to kind of check and manage and make sure it makes sense. And so I raised a trade, and there was a compliance warning that said, "Oh, are you sure you want to trade this? We might be breaching this, I don't know, regulation, whatever." And we are allowed to actually close down the trade, the warnings, the compliance, as long as we understand what it is, whether it's genuine or not. 2 weeks in, I wasn't too sure about the warning, but using my knowledge, I knew it was okay to some extent. I thought it was okay anyway. And I asked a colleague, you know, to double check, like, you know, you sure I'm okay to, you know, do this?
Yeah.
He said yes. So lo and behold, with my chest, I went ahead and I put the trade through.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was actually a breach of the mandate. We shouldn't have done it.
Wow.
But you know, when God's on your side, by the way, whenever you make mistakes, remember it's a trade, so you can make a profit or loss.
Yeah.
And you know, as I said, when God's on your side, things go. There's an L, but if things could go your way, so we actually made like a 50K profit.
Okay.
In one day.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You call it L, but you made profit.
I call it L because I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done it. It's a breach. Whether you make a profit or not, it's a breach. You shouldn't breach the mandate, basically.
And what's the repercussions of a breach?
So when you do a breach, you have to write an error report. Okay. So it gets escalated, and you feel like an idiot, to be honest, because everyone starts looking at you with the frown face. And you know, if you make a profit, that's okay. Even then, you gotta kind of, you know, write an error report. If you make a loss, then the company has to take that loss.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah. So that hurts. And the company, you have to basically write a report.
Wow.
And then it goes upwards. Yeah. So what happened? And then they fund the loss if you make a loss. And within my industry, you can make a loss in seconds. So
that's what I was going to ask you, like, how often are losses made?
Oh, yeah. You can make a loss as soon as you put a trade on. Because the market is always changing. But we are long-term investors. Yeah. So when we invest, we're not traders. We invest for the long term. So we buy shares in companies for the next 5, 10, 20 years, hoping that they'll grow up in value. Depending on our strategy, we buy shares for dividends, for example. Dividends, basically, you buy shares in a company, they pay you an income every 3 months, for example. That doesn't really escalate in price too much, but we want the dividends. So if you're a pensioner,
because there's money coming in.
So there's different strategies you can adopt. But and capital gains as well. If you buy shares in a company, the value of that share can go up as well, and you make a profit when you sell it. But of course, we're investing for the long term. So we don't capitalize on the sales unless it's something crazy. We hold it for the long term. And that's what I teach as well as an individual. This is for my company, but even as an individual, that's the approach that you actually want to take as well.
Got you. So let's go into that a bit more. So you as Jack's Financials, you teach financial literacy. So in Excellence, we're trying to get people into careers and, you know, to better themselves and start making money. So they need to know how to manage this money. So what would you say for someone just starting their career? Like, what's the first things they need to think about, or what's the first moves they need to make?
Good question. With everything, so Jack's Financial started off mainly as investment guidance because that's where I specialize.
Okay.
I'm more of an investor rather than a general financial literacy teacher. For example. That's where I started.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my clients were asked me to help them budget and that kind of stuff. And I've been doing that as an individual anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why I've started moving more to financial coaching and that stuff as well. But yeah. For me, for example, I'll give you my story. Because I think that will help you understand how I teach people.
Yeah.
So when I first, got into work and that kind of stuff, I had, sadly, nearly like £200 in my account. It was sad times. Because remember, I did a master's degree.
Yeah.
And I funded that myself, and I got a loan for that as well.
Oh wow!
So that included the tuition fees, and I stayed in Nottingham. So the
accommodation fees and things like that.
And that kind of stuff. So I started off literally minus 5,000. Let's say that. But I knew first and foremost to get out of debt first, because I know that's important.
Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to get out of debt first is the interest rate that you're paying for any debt, and I told everyone that's the first thing you want to do. Because the interest rate that you're paying for the debt is higher than any investment you're going to make. Yeah. Unless you take excessive risk.
Yeah.
So I knew that's what I was working towards. So you got to have a strategy as to how much do you earn, how much can you save. One of my best advice I'll give anybody listening: stay at home. Don't rush. Don't rush to leave your parents' house. That's something that helped me a lot. Of course, I contribute to the house, but it's nothing compared to how much I'll be contributing myself if I was living alone.
Yeah.
And really have a strategy in place as to what you're really trying to achieve, how long it's going to take you to achieve that thing, and how realistic it is as well. So that's what I done. So I was able to pay off the debt within I don't know, a few months.
Okay.
The next thing I was able to, I wanted to buy a house. So I was saving towards a house. Yeah. And I knew I needed, for example, £30,000 for a deposit. Yeah. At the time, anyway. So I started working towards that. Now, my pay was pretty decent, to be really honest. I was saving a lot. I couldn't even tell anybody how much I was saving. Can't tell my mum or dad.
Oh, wow.
And once I reached that level, I realized I didn't want to buy a house anymore. I was going to buy a house in Dartford.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I was going to buy a house. But at the time, I realized, basically, in short, the amount of deposit I had to put down was too much for me at the time. It was just going to take everything. Yeah. I just didn't want that. So, and then I became more of an investor. Okay. So I started investing in stocks and shares. And when it comes to real estate, I invest in that thing I was mentioned before, real estate investment trusts. Right. Okay. Which is a way of being exposed to real estate and earning some income.
Do you want to explain that a little bit?
A REIT. So it's called REIT. REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. It's a type of. It's quite similar to a mutual fund. A mutual fund is basically. So imagine. All of us have a bit of money, and there's someone sitting at the end of the table. No, let's say me, and I say, guys, I've got the expertise. Everyone give me their money, and I'm going to go and invest it on something specific. So I can say I'm going to invest in just in technology. I'm going to invest it in just UK equities, or I'm just going to invest it in property. Okay. So a REIT is one that focuses on property. Okay. And essentially, they focus more, generally speaking, on commercial property. So not typical residential.
Office space.
Office space and that kind of stuff.
Got you.
And essentially that's what they do.
Okay.
And they have to pay out. They have the certain rules that they have to follow. So they have to pay out 90% of their rental income, for example, to investors. Yeah. So it's a good way of earning some income through property. The downside is, compared to owning your own property, is when you own your own property, you tend to use leverage because you get a mortgage, right? So your return on investment is much higher. Yeah. Whereas if you're investing in a REIT, you get a percentage return based on how much you put in. Got you. Oh, right. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's so I started investing, and that's what I do. And today, as we speak now, I'm hoping to start my own property portfolio. So I'm moving away from. Well, I'm not going to move away from REITs, but I'm going to start diversify my portfolio. But right now, I'm invested about 40k into stocks and shares.
Okay, cool.
Dope. So again, back to the initial question. So for someone that is just starting, they should get themselves out of debt.
Get yourself out of debt if you're in debt.
Yeah.
Second stage is, I would say, now I'm going more to personal finance. Yeah. Right. Second stage, I would say, is build an emergency fund. Okay. So an emergency fund, any personal finance guru will tell you an emergency fund is 3 to 6 months worth of your total expenses. Okay. In order to know this, you need to budget. So you need to actually know how much is coming in and out of your account. So that's something you can follow. someone else would probably say you don't have to think about your 3 months to 6 months worth of your expenses, but how much would you feel comfortable with in your bank account should anything go wrong in your life? You lose your job. How much right now would you say, okay, I've got so and so amount, I feel good, and I'm going to move forward. So that's a way of thinking about it as well. But if you want something very strategic, you can say 3 months worth of your expenses or 6 months. I did a year.
Okay.
The reason why I did a year is because I knew at some stage I was going to leave the workforce, the corporate world, to try and work on business a bit. Yeah. So I needed a bit more of a buffer. Yeah. So that's so step by step, pay over your debts, create an emergency fund, and then start making your money work for you.
And like setting yourself goals and things like that. Set yourself.
In terms of how I saved, yeah. I mean, everything for me, I'm one of those people. I like to put pen to paper. I'm very strategic. I keep using the word strategic or intentional. Yeah. I knew this is how much I earn. This is how much I can save. This is what I'm going to save. And it just comes up with budgeting and stuff, you know. And then you can predict how quickly you're going to be able to pay off your debt. Yeah. How quickly you're going to create an emergency fund. And then you can move on to the next stage, which is for me is investing or saving towards a big investment, which is what I started doing. So I was saving towards a house.
Yeah, and then after that you changed your mind.
Move to stocks and shares.
Okay, cool.
Make your money work for you.
Got you. You go.
So what's your biggest regret?
My biggest regret.
So thus far.
That's a good question. My biggest regret was not getting to the stock market earlier.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I wish I learned about the stock market when I was at university. For someone studying economics with a passion for finance, I didn't really take the initiative to really study the stock market. In fact, I didn't even need to study it that well. I just needed to be in the stock market. Right. Whether it's, to be in the stock market, to invest in the stock market, you could buy individual shares. But you can also invest in something called a mutual fund, which I just described. Right. There's something within a mutual funds. There's something called index funds. An index fund, I'll give you an example, is the FTSE 100. What you're doing is you put money into this fund, and your money is diversified into all these different assets, like the FTSE 100, all the 100 companies in the UK, the top 100 companies. Having money invested is great because then you could just go to sleep and not look at it again. Now, I only realized the other day, I started uni more than 10 years ago. It feels like just the other day. Now, if you look at where the stock market has performed over the past 10 years since the financial crisis, if I invested in, I'd be smiling right now. Yeah. So that's my biggest regret. Right, okay. Just not getting into the market earlier. There's a saying, time inside the market is better than timing the market. So you get a lot of people trying to trade now and trying to say, oh, today's going to go up to it, today's going to go down, I'm going to go in and out. That's not going to, in my opinion, that's not going to make you rich, and it's very hard to predict.
So we'll just put it in there and leave it.
Put it in there and leave it. That's an investment. That's how you invest for the long term. You put it in there, you leave it. When you buy a house today, you don't go and sell it tomorrow unless you're doing flips. Yeah. But then you're adding value to it. Yeah. You buy it, you hold it, you rent it out, you get your income, and it appreciates over time.
Got you. So with that regret that you had, how would you advise someone to get involved in the stock market now?
Or like me. No, but all jokes aside, education. When I was younger, education was something that was forced down my throat. And as I grew older, I knew the importance of education in terms of getting out of Hackney or the hood, if you want to call it. And that was my way out, but I still didn't really understand the value of self-education. So what I'm talking right now is about formal education. But after that, self-education was one of the most important things. There's so much I've learned by myself that I didn't learn at university, for example. And I mean, I'm not going to shut down university because it gave me a platform. Yeah. Because I had a degree in economics, because I had a master's in financial economics, studying the stock market wasn't hard. Because I've already got the foundation knowledge. You don't need to explain to me what inflation is. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Cool. Yeah, it does.
Outside of everything, so what's your future plans though, like personally? Yeah. Like, and what, like, for example, without going into, anyway, let's go into it.
What's my future plan?
So what's your future plans though? So like, what, you single, so what's going on?
You know what, it's a good question, I'm single, for real. No, so, if we want to talk about relationships, we can. I mean, I've been single for a few years now, about 4 years now. Okay. 4 or 5 years, I think. Intentionally. I think, as I've said it before, I think even as a man, you got to go through a stage of finding yourself. Right. And really knowing what you want in life and the kind of girl you need in your life to kind of partner up with you, as in, help you achieve your dreams, and you can also help her achieve her dreams as well. But again, one thing I'm always saying now is you got to be very intentional with everything that you do. I'm quite strategic. So right now I'm single, but my eyes are a bit more open now.
Yeah.
A bit more open,
So when you say intentional, what is he like? Obviously, I don't know your ex.
Back in the days when I was younger, you see a girl, she looks good.
Yeah.
Go have a word, use a chat.
Have a word.
I smile. My dimples used to work. I don't know. Wow. And you get the number, and then I ended up in some relationships where it was just because the person was a nice person, but there was no intention behind it, or I was just doing it because it's something to do.
Yeah.
Whereas, which obviously meant that when the relationships went down, I ended up hurting people that I cared about.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I was going to say fortunately for me, but unfortunately, I always done the breaking up.
Yeah.
I was always like,
heartbreak kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Damn.
but
so you're moving.
But you see why I had to be alone for a while, because I think I wasn't ready to settle down. I didn't really know why I was settling down, or what is the point of relationships. And I've grown up in a Christian family where you're supposed to be in a relationship leading up to marriage, but I was 21, 22, and I was just in a relationship, not thinking about marriage at all. So I think I needed to that time to find myself, develop a career, that kind of stuff. And now that I'm 28, I'm getting a bit older now.
Growing, yeah.
Cracking on.
So if I see a nice girl, I might have a word.
Yeah. So then how would that with that in mind, how would you think that would impact your career?
Yeah.
Would you for example, would you think, okay, cool, now let's say a girl walks in tomorrow and you're thinking, okay, this is the spice of life. Would you now think, okay, let me change my career aspects to maybe settle down, get a pension or whatever? Or would you still kind of go alone, all that type of stuff?
I don't know. I mean, everything's communication, right? First and foremost, you need to know what you're working towards. So if I meet a girl right now and we're sat on a date and we're talking, I'll let her know what I'm doing, or what my aspirations are, and I'll also get to know what she wants to do. And it's, if it's a thing where we're on a 5th, 6th day and it's getting serious, then we've got to start thinking about how does it both align with each other. And just communicate. That's the most important thing. I mean, remember, I'm still on a journey. Yeah. I'm sure she would probably still be on a journey as well.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just about trying to make sure our journeys are aligned together.
That's cool.
But communication is the most important thing.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Cool. So on the same lines of relationship, more so about free time and enjoying things and going on holidays and buying things for yourself. Yeah. What would you advise someone starting a career? How much money should they assign to living life?
Oh, wow.
People
that's a very good question and very, very relevant to myself. So when I started I'll call it a personal finance journey, because I put my Twitter yesterday. Yeah. So when I said on my Twitter something like I was about 24 years old and I set myself financial targets. Yeah. And I said by the time I'm 25, I want to have 20K. By the time I'm 30, I want 100K. By the time I'm 35, I want $1 million. Those are the things I was saying. Reality quickly hits. No, honestly, I was actually on target. But because I was really overworking myself.
Got you.
Okay.
And I wasn't spending. I was saving every little dime. I was being really aggressive. Do I regret it? Not too much, because my bank account's so healthy.
Healthy.
Yeah, but it was tiring. And if you're not careful, you kind of, you forget to appreciate yourself and buy things for yourself. So I think 2017 was that year where I was really aggressively just trying to secure the bag. I was saving everything, but I wouldn't advise people to do that. Yeah. So even people that I talk to right now, I've got a strategy that I use now. So basically how it goes is, and this is my budget. So, and I learned from someone, I can't remember, I might have read a book. I've read a lot of books. Essentially said, if you can get your total expenses out, your necessities, to 50% of your income, and then if you could use 10% for savings, so just like for your emergency fund, use 10% for investments, so maybe into mutual funds and that kind of stuff. And there was one 10% that is relevant to what we're speaking about, was 10% for fun.
Yeah.
So I have an account purely for fun. So for going out, for holidays, all that kind of stuff. And the other 10% was education.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I really, so I spend a lot on education, now self-education, which I talked about before. So, just booking courses and that kind of stuff. But yeah, spend money on different things. Don't just focus on just investing. Don't just focus on just don't focus on fun. You get people that literally are on a, what do you call it, YOLO life.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm going to tell you something.
Be real.
Go on.
So, I was watching something the other day, and before I even get there, a lot of my clients, 95% I would say, or 90%, have been females.
Okay.
And I didn't really realize until I had my 60th client, and I said, why is it all of them girls? And then I asked one of my guy friends, like, I don't really understand why guys don't come up to me more as much as girls. And he said it's because when it was investment guidance, I was getting more girls. Yeah. When I moved a bit more to financial coaching, I think he said guys have an ego.
Got you.
He said, why would a guy come up to someone to teach them how to manage their finances? Men are meant to know how to do that anyway. And I just thought, that's true. And I don't even like doing it. I don't like telling people that you have to budget, for example. Yeah. Sometimes it could come across as patronizing. And we're all men. You don't want another man to tell you how to spend your money, for example. So when it comes to men, I think a lot of the time we know what to do, we just don't do it. So for me, it's not about telling you this is the mechanics of how to deal with your finances, but it's more about psychology. How to manage your psychology,
and making them feel accountable.
Because growing up in the ends, we know how it's like. We try to keep up with the Joneses. We try to show off. We get
splash.
We try to splash. I've made these mistakes before. I bought an Audi A5 cash. Because all my friends had German whips and like Jacks. They used to call me Don Jack. So so how can everyone have German cars and I don't? Come on. So it's a mistake that I've made in my life. But it's all about thinking differently, thinking generational wealth, thinking unselfishly, if that's a word. And that's when it comes to guys. For me, it's more of a conversation. And they're more interested in the investment side. So, okay, I've got a bit of money. What do I do with it? What kind of properties can I buy? What kind of stocks and shares and bonds and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think I might have gone off topic there.
That's fine, bro. I appreciate it.
What was your question? I can't remember.
It was about how much do you assign to having fun or living life?
For me, 10%.
Okay, that's
it fluctuates. It doesn't stay as 10%. It can go up to 20.
Got you. Okay.
I just got back from Dominica, so cool. I'm doing dishes calculations. And I'm off to Canada soon as well.
Hey, jet set.
So, but look, I keep mentioning this word, and I can't talk without saying it. 2 words: strategy and how intentional you are. I think a lot of the times we're not intentional. We just kind of live day by day. But if you actually wake up and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, everything is much more clearer. And you could do things better. In my opinion, so.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's your biggest hurdle then, you think?
My biggest hurdle now? I think when you get to a certain age in life, so I'm 28 now, is almost you want to do certain things before 30. I think, and I don't know who came up with that idea that certain things have to be done before 30. But I guess social media
pressure.
So one of my biggest hurdles is trying to really achieve the things that I wrote down to achieve by 30, for example, which gives me less than a year because I'm 29 soon. But and really finding my purpose. I think career is all good. But you get to a stage in life where it's not just about career. It's not just about money. It's not just about anything but your purpose. I'm a Christian, so that's part of my life is how do I live a God-fearing life, for example. What can I do to really add value to the world, for example. So that's trying to go on that journey to really discover yourself is part of the hurdles I'm facing. But hopefully I can jump over those hurdles. Kim Collins style. Not Kim Collins. What's his name? What's
King? Which guy?
There's a guy called Collins. He's a GB.
Phil, it's not Phil Collins.
I forgot his first name.
Colin Jackson.
Colin Jackson. That's it. Colin Jackson. That's it.
I heard a lot.
Mad, bro.
Mad.
Good memory right there.
Yeah. It was I'm trying to claim it, but so how can people get in touch with you?
So I've got social media. So my Instagram, I've got 2. One is my personal one. It's just Mr_Jacques_O, which is standard. Then I've got my company one, which is Jacques Financial Group. I'm also on Twitter. I don't really like Twitter that much, but I'm on Twitter. It's just JAX Financial, so Jacques Financial. My website as well is www.jacksfinancial.co.uk. And my email address is contact@jacksfinancial.co.uk, I believe.
Got you. So I forgot to ask you actually. You're planning to write a book? Or?
Yeah, I plan to do a lot of things.
So what's the future? What does it hold for you?
So I'm planning to write a book, a few books actually. And one is called From the Hood to the City, which is exactly what we've talked about today. Kind of my journey from, just the challenges you face being from the ends. I always talk about my school life. The school that I went to, only 30% of people got ATCs, for example. Obviously, not having any mentors in life, not having any guidance as to where to go apart from my family, and then moving on to college, the challenges I faced there, going into university, which I've just spoken about, the cultural shock and that kind of stuff, and just basically how people can follow a similar plan that I've used, because I think a lot of people are like me, that come from the ends and want to be in the city, and and even being in the city, the challenges you face being in the city. For example, we know we're from ends. We don't do no snitching. we don't get involved in none of that stuff. But you'll quickly find out in the corporate world that everyone's a snitch. So when you're not a snitch, seriously, you like, for example, the mistake you asked me about one of my L's, the mistake that I made, there was absolutely no way I could snitch on this guy. I couldn't tell on him to say
he told me that.
To do that. I just couldn't. I was expecting him to own up. Come on. But then when something goes wrong with you, everyone would pull you up in the meeting. You're thinking,
they're snitching, man.
But that's one of the challenges you face. It's just something that's part of
it's a culture shift, isn't it?
No matter how
it's a culture shift.
So that's a culture shock. That kind of stuff. So the book should be interesting.
Dope. We look forward to it. Do you have any events coming up or?
I've got quite a few, but I've not really picked up any dates yet. And I'm doing events with different people. So different people contact me, say they want to do partnerships and that kind of stuff. But I can't think of any dates on the top of my head.
But they can find out on your socials.
They can find out on my socials. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
As soon as I get a date, then I'll roll it out.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, thank you, brother. I feel like we've learned a lot today. And thank you all for listening to the Ends to Excellence podcast.
Yeah.
All right, we're off.
Cool.